You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.
You've seen The View. You've heard all the real talk. Now have a seat at our table. A table for five.
Good Wednesday morning,
Good
everyone.
Wednesday morning.
Good morning.
Yes, it is.
yes, it's Wednesday. We do know where we are today.
I know.
Today's Wednesday, October 17th, 2018. Oh my God, you are in 2019 already.
Did I put 2019? I'm just thinking ahead.
She is forward thinking.
I want to think ahead too.
Yes, we are forward thinking. We are into October next year, and everything is lovely. We have had an
We have
impeachment.
recovered.
Yes,
Yes,
better.
yes.
This is what
we
it
have
is.
won the midterms.
Yes.
Yes.
We are on our way to the
Can I
better
say
life.
no, yes?
Yeah,
Yes, you may.
You can say
Yes,
whatever you
may.
want on
Oh
this
my
show.
gosh,
Yes.
this
So,
is so
in case you're
funny.
wondering where you are in 2018. Let's
can't
be
believe I
clear.
did that.
That's fantastic.
Oh my
You're
gosh.
watching Table for Five, everyone. Welcome. Welcome to our show. Welcome to Table for
Yes.
Five, where you, the listening and viewing audience, will always have a seat right here at our table. Table for Five. We are on every Monday and Wednesday
Wednesdays,
now,
yeah.
11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time to 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. You know, I love my Pacific time.
Your PSTs.
Yes. And welcome, everyone. We have a great show for you today. I will
Yes.
intro the show in a second.
Yes.
But I will let you do some introductions.
Yes, our housekeeping, our Monday, Wednesday housekeeping to let you know where you can catch us when we're not on the air. All our social media platforms, our Instagram, our Twitter, our Facebook, our YouTube, and our website. Our website. Our website.
Website.
Listen, I need to go back to bed. I left my glasses. I thought I left my computer,
a
and it was
Monday
on the
on a
table. I'm not doing. Well, I'm doing fine.
You look great. That's the
Thank
important
you,
part.
right?
look
I
great.
can fake it till I make it. So anyway, our website, which we love to call our one-stop shop because it has all the information you ever want to know about how we got started, why we're here, and what we're about. But also, if you want to advertise with us, there's a little tab there. You click on it, and you get all the information on options and tiers, and then you let us know, and someone very professional will get back to you. Along with that, you can subscribe to our weekly newsletter. It's bi-weekly, right? Bi-weekly?
Bi-weekly, yep.
Every
Sure is.
We do
yeah,
not
right?
we don't discriminate.
No, it's bi-weekly. That's good. And so you'll get it, and it'll have the information about upcoming shows and our guests and any links that are related to our guests. And it'll also have little tidbits about the month, like we just came out of Hispanic Heritage Month, and now we're doing Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So all that information is on there. So just put your email, and you will be part of our newsletter subscription. It's really cool. Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if you want to be a part of this conversation, we are currently on Facebook Live at Felicia and Annette at Table for Five. You can write your questions there. And if you want to call in and be brave, you could call us at
Yes.
818-570-5085.
Give us a call.
won't be painful.
If you
Yeah, it won't be
have-
painful.
If you
Yeah,
have
well, I
something
don't
to
know,
say, you
Barbara.
want to jump in and have this conversation.
Yes.
But today's show. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're talking about today. We're talking about politics then and now with our special guest, Barbara. I'll say your real name, Barbara Butler, but we affectionately call her Barb. So I'm going to give you a little
Oh, okay.
applause. You can't hear it; you don't have your ears on, but giving you a little applause
giving you a
there.
little
Welcome to the show. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for
so much.
joining us and being willing to come in on talk about politics. We were talking about politics then and now, and it's
I
been
go back
very,
many thens, by the way.
and it's been very hard to get people of the other side, conservative people, Republican people, to come in and have a conversation with
Yeah.
us. It's been kind of like,
We do have one
They've
coming
got a
in
lot to
January.
defend.
Yes.
And that's going to
Yes.
be pretty intense.
Yeah,
If
I
you've
think
seen
that'll
any
be
of her
good.
videos.
yeah, I hadn't yet,
Yes.
but no, I think I did. Yes. Anyways, I'm like in
She was
5
going to
different
come
zones.
today, actually, but she
Yes.
has her own show that she does.
Right.
So that was the conflict of
Right,
time and
right.
schedule. and she's what I was interested in having her. She's in her 30s, early 30s, so she's a millennial Republican conservative. So I kind of was interested in having her voice here. But we will have her voice. It will just not going to be now. It's going to be in January. She may be crying, or she may be happy. We don't know.
Yeah. But we always try to keep a respectful tone.
Kleenex, so
We always try to keep a respectful tone. That's what we would let people understand and know that you're not going to come here if you have a difference of opinion. You're not going to come here and get like talked bad, down upon, or be disrespectful, because that's our big thing. Is that we're big on respect. Like, listen, her and I don't agree like hardly ever, but we do have respect for each other, and we can come to terms. And so that's part of the other reason why we do this show, is to allow people and to get people to understand that you can have a difference of opinion and still walk away and be okay with it.
Exactly.
Unless
they used to do
you're
that
Donald
in
Trump
Congress
and you're
all the
racist,
time.
but, you know.
Yeah,
I mean,
isn't that?
It used to be that Ted Kennedy would get up and he'd give an impassioned speech and be, completely on the other side of the person that he goes to lunch with, who's another senator who was a Republican. They'd go out on his boat. I mean, there was a civility and friendships, and you could actually talk.
Before we get, you want to, because I want to say something. We just want to get right into the topic.
Yes. And we're talking about politics then and now, and everyone, as you see at the table, is wearing red, white, and blue, because they're very like patriotic.
And I'm from New York, so that's why I have my New York sweatshirt
y'all are just doing the most. And I forgot today, but we also want to let you know that having a difference of opinion and speaking about your opinion does not make you unpatriotic. I want that to kind of be the underlining theme of the show, is that we are in red, white, and blue. We are patriotic. We are American. We love our country, and that's why we are having these conversations.
I vote every election.
Yes, and I think everybody should. And we'll get into why you should. But let me introduce Barb. Barbara is a product of a mixed marriage. Her dad was a Dixiecrat.
Yep.
We're going to explain
I love that.
I have never heard that.
from the South.
Okay.
Which means they're very, very conservative, almost Republican.
Okay.
Like one DNA molecule away from being a Republican.
Gotcha. Okay. So Dixiecrat / Republican, and her mom was a staunch Democrat.
Yep.
She continued to work professionally in presidential, congressional, that's a hard word to say, mayoral, and state legislative races before segueing into her career. But she continues to volunteer in every presidential campaign since. When Barbara was 7, she asked her mother the difference between Republicans and Democrats. Her mother replied, "When Republicans are in power, the rich get richer and the poor get poor. When Democrats are in power, the poor get richer and the rich still rich. The rich are still rich." Barbara said, "Then I'm a Democrat. My political heroes are Teddy Roosevelt, FDR, Eleanor Roosevelt, Winston Churchill, Bill Clinton, and Bobby Kennedy. And of course, U.S. Senators Barbara Boxer, Elizabeth Warren, Kamala Harris, Heidi Heitkamp, and the most highly qualified candidate ever to run for office of the U.S. president, and popular vote winner by 3 million votes. Tally not adjusted for Russian meddling. First Lady of Arkansas, First Lady of the United States, Senate, Secretary of State of the United States, and U.S. Senator Hillary Rodham Clinton is her favorite. If you did not figure that out, get all that. She's a Hillary Clinton fan.
That's great, and so am I. I am, and so I want to talk about Hillary really quickly, because yesterday she, or the day before, because we're on this show, but then I go home before I have to do my schoolwork. I taped The View, and The View did a little segment on Hillary Clinton, because both her and President Clinton are going on a speaking tour. Right. And so they interviewed her, and she made a comment about Bill Clinton not abusing his power when having his little affair with Monica Lewinsky. And she said, no, he did not. She was an adult. So she's getting a lot of pushback on that. Now, my feeling about this whole Hillary Clinton, this is my opinion, it's worth 2 cents. People want her to have this "I hate my husband" response.
They do, yeah.
They want her to throw him under the bus, back it up, and then I hate him, I hate him, I hate him. Like, the fact that she's willing to stand by her, like, they don't even honor that. And I'm talking about both sides of the aisle. Yeah. Liberals and Democrats and Republicans. They don't honor the fact that
messy people who have a messy opinion.
Yeah, like, if she wants to stand by her man, then let her stand by her man.
Yeah, they've been married the
And-
whole time. They
yeah,
haven't
exactly.
Broken up,
Right. Yeah. So, and if she decides, I'm gonna, because this is not his first indiscretion, and obviously this has been one of many indiscretions that he's been having before he was governor, before he
Right.
was president.
Right.
So, and if she's okay with it, why are people so up in arms about that?
Because everybody knows.
But I want to ask you, do you think she should have been a little bit more politically correct in her response, considering the Me Too movement and everything that's going on in the climate?
Well, I understand her response. I would have elaborated on it and just said that number one, she went after him, and she, Lewinsky even admitted that. And number two, she knew he was married.
Yeah.
So she's not exactly Lily White in
Yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
situation. And
Yeah.
apparently he turned her down many, 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 many times. And he finally just gave in.
Yeah.
I think it was wrong of him to do that.
Sure.
But I think that she's kind of gotten off scot-free. And they
Well, I wouldn't say
vilified
she got
him
off
and impeached
scot-free.
him and did all sorts of things and had a total investigation. So that's the worst thing he did in office.
Right.
Now then we've got Trump.
Yeah.
He was doing stuff before he got into office.
Yeah,
with
and the conservative
Russians and all
people
the
were
rest of
not
it.
like
Yeah, they're turning a
just
blind eye to everything.
Yeah, just in the marriage realm. Like,
Yeah.
let's not even
Yeah.
get
Yeah.
into like the political
Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Like just in his character realm,
Yeah.
Well-
we're talking about how
Well,
how crazy he
so-
is. And
so-
Clinton, I would say you can't compare the two.
No.
And I'll
plus the
throw in
fact-
my 2 cents about the Monica Lewinsky thing. I would disagree a little bit when you say she didn't pay for it as much as he did. I think she did in a different way. I think she was berated in her personal life. I think it ruined her kind of as a person
She didn't get
mentally.
impeached. She didn't almost lose the presidency.
Yeah, but I mean, she also wasn't the president. So I think we have to hold him to a higher standard because he was the president.
He was held to a
And
higher
I think,
standard.
but I
That's my
think she
point.
was an adult, and I think she knew what she was
But
doing.
for
and
every
so-
action, there's a
Yes.
there's a reaction, a consequence. Like there's bad
For
behavior
both of
So
them.
I
So-
mean that she was ostracized and all that bullying thing that she has going, and yeah, I get it. But she has to understand that what did we expect? Like,
Well, I
what
think she was young. I
expecting
think
us
she
to
didn't
do?
understand. I don't think she understood the scope of what she was doing.
Of course,
but I
no, no,
think
no, 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 no,
now
no, no,
she
I don't-
understands.
no, I disagree.
No, I don't
She
think.
was
I don't think that she.
100%.
I don't think she knew.
She knew
I don't think
exactly.
She,
And
no, no,
he
no.
was the president of the United States.
I'm
He-
talking about. I don't think she understood what the aftermath was going to look like.
Of course you have. No.
Like,
I
I
disagree
don't-
100%
think
with that.
it
If you're
was
playing
just
with
way
fire,
out
you're
there.
going to get burned.
But she
You're
wasn't.
messing-
She was playing with volcano. She thought she was
So
playing
she-
with fire, and she
So
was
then
really
she
playing
should-
with a
if she
volcano.
was playing with a volcano, she
But I
knew
don't
it
think
was
she.
gonna-
I don't think she got
No,
that.
of
We need
course
to
she
have
got
Monica
that.
Lewinsky
No,
on
no,
here.
she
You can
got
come
that
and talk
because she
to us
was
about
working
that.
in politics. When you work in politics,
was in
there's
the White
rules
House.
and regulations.
still,
There's no.
Yeah,
She
I think she was naive about it.
No, she was not. Get out of here with that. She was
I'm
naive.
just saying the
She showed
repercussions
up
that was
at
coming
every
down.
rally and every event and made herself front and
Yeah,
center.
no, I
She
understand.
knew
Yeah,
what she
that
was
part.
doing. She was very calculated.
Yes, that part, of course. I'm talking about. I don't think she understood
The
that she was going to get
repercussions
like
after the fact.
But-
way far away repercussions.
I don't disagree with you. I understand what you're saying.
I know, but
See,
when
we've already got. We're at
Yeah.
15
We're
minutes.
like not even 15 I know, but the idea that she didn't understand is a little naive.
No,
for
I'm not
anybody
saying
to
she
believe.
didn't understand. I'm not saying. I don't think she thought it.
She thought she was
through.
gonna get
I don't
away
think
with it,
she
I think is what
thought.
you're saying.
I don't think she thought that the repercussions were going to probably last as long as they did for her. That it was going to. I would say seemingly completely ruin her life. Like she probably thought, okay, this might be messy. Yeah, whatever. I'm going to come out of it, whatever on the other side. I don't think she got it. Like, again, she was playing with fire. I think she thought she was playing with fire. I don't think she realized she was playing with a volcano.
Yeah, well,
That's my 2 cents.
Really,
But you need to come on, Monica. Come
I
on here.
know.
And talk
I
to us
have
about it.
news for you. She would have gotten worse had she been in a room with Hillary Clinton for 5 minutes.
Yeah,
So-
listen, exactly.
Yes, this
like,
is
who
true.
are we? Like,
This is true.
Okay.
So Hillary.
Anyway.
Yeah. I mean,
Anyway,
I think
that's my.
Yeah,
I think I agree with you. That was one of the responses that one of the ladies gave was that she should have elaborated a little bit. She got very defensive right away, and I think because
Because they keep asking.
Yeah,
the
they keep-
same
it's like this
question. I
thing-
mean, they're still together, for God's sake.
yeah,
Leave them alone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's, it
like
is
just
history.
move on. Like there's other
let 'em
things.
be. There's so many other things to talk about.
Exactly. Okay, so Barbara, now that you're here,
Yes.
what we know is the obvious. Okay, so we're going to state the obvious. Donald Trump is crazy.
Yeah.
Right? So we
Yeah,
all know that.
certifiable.
Yeah.
We all agree that the
Speaking
man
of
is
crazy, are we going to talk about Kanye West and his meeting?
let me, because I want to ask her. No, because I don't want to give him any more time.
Okay.
he got
agree.
hours and hours and hours and
Okay.
hours of
And
All right,
He's,
all right.
he's beyond crazy.
Yeah,
So, I mean,
exactly. So we know that Donald Trump is unstable. He's unhinged. He's not reliable. He's a liar.
Yes.
So that we've established that. What concerns you most aside from that, as a Democrat?
As a human being and as a citizen of the United States, I'm worried about all the gerrymandering going on. They got Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court just in time for him to overturn every gerrymandering decision before the court.
Explain gerrymandering.
Yeah.
Gerrymandering is when it shouldn't be one group doing it, but whoever's in charge gets to make the rules. And the Republicans have been making rules that are very anti-democratic, to say the least. And gerrymandering is when you draw districts for voting that are beneficial to one party or the other. And the Republicans have been doing it and doing it and doing it. And at one
Like
point,
recently, in recent times.
right now,
Yeah.
right this second,
Yeah.
they're doing it.
Well, I just want to say this really quick. I was thinking about this morning. I said the madness that Donald Trump does with his character and his tweeting and all, is really a distraction
Right.
to what's really going on in Congress
I agree.
and
I totally
all the
agree.
stuff
We're
that
not
they're
talking
doing
about.
and the
Yes.
and the appointments that they're making in the courts and all, like that. This is what we're so
Yeah.
we're
It's like,
all
look over here, look over
hysterical,
here, look over
right?
here, we're the shiny object.
Yeah. Meanwhile, all
Yeah.
this stuff is going down and nobody's talking about it.
53,000 people registered to vote in Georgia. 90% of this 53,000 group are black, and the Secretary of State put their registrations on hold, even though they were in on time. They met the deadline. And the Secretary of State is also the person running for governor of the state. And the person he's running against is black. Now, you tell
Wow.
me that isn't a conflict of interest up one side and down the other. It is.
And no one's talking about that.
Well,
No, they're talking about it, but
not enough.
they're not,
People aren't paying
screaming
attention.
about it.
And I mean, I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. That is not the American way.
Right.
Yeah, it's
You know,
not
you're
okay.
stealing an election.
Right.
And obviously Trump did too.
Yeah.
But if you're an American citizen, that should make your blood boil.
Yeah.
It really should. I mean, if the Democrats were doing it, I'd feel exactly the
Yeah,
same way.
Absolutely.
It is not.
And
This is
something I
not
think
a
that
partisan issue.
Yeah, I think that's what we need to point out is that what's wrong is wrong. Like
Right.
there's right and there's basic right
Exactly.
and there's basic wrong. And when you're
Exactly.
doing wrong, no matter who you are and
Yeah.
what side you fall on, you need to call it what it is. If,
Yeah.
like you said, if the Democrats were doing it, you would call it that too. Really quickly, while we're talking about voting, I wanted to talk about your situation where you were talking about your registering, and you want to tell us a little bit about that?
I registered in the district that I vote in 16 years ago, and I voted in every election. I went to the polls in June to, cast my ballot for the primary. They didn't have me. Now I'm like, this is not possible.
How is that possible? Yeah.
Exactly. You can't have purged me because I've been
You're
voting.
alive.
Yeah.
A, I'm alive. B, I've been voting. So
Right.
if they're
Yeah,
trying
you're
to
active.
say, oh, you're not active, I was very active. So anyway, I raised quite a stink, and I found out that not only was I not on the list, the entire side of my street was left off. I don't mean a block. I
Insane.
mean the whole street. The even numbered addresses were completely not there. They showed me on the voter rolls empty, and
Crazy.
in the street next to us, their entire odd side was left off for the entire street, not just the block, the whole street. And I live in apartment building occupancies. So we're not talking about one or two people at an address. We're talking about 50, 60, sometimes more, depending on
At
the,
each
on the thing.
particular address.
Right, exactly. And so I folded. I had to get a provisional ballot, which isn't even counted for a month because they have to check and make sure, oh, yes, and yes, she signed it, and that's her signature, and all the rest of it. So they had to do this, and 120,000 people were left off, not just my blocks. 120,000
Now,
people.
did you find out why that happened?
They called it a printing error. I call it Russian meddling. I think they took it out and decided took it out for a spin to see if it would work. That's my.
Do you know if you were the
personal
only
opinion.
one that noticed that, and
Oh,
were
God,
you the
no.
only one that complained?
Oh God, no.
No.
I wasn't. But I called the. I tried getting through the Secretary of State's office. I tried getting through to the voter registration people here.
With no
and
luck?
It was busy. I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, obviously there was a lot going on.
I called the Democratic Party here. They hadn't even heard about it. So I was the first person to let them know, and they were going to follow up and all the rest of it. But, I mean, it only seeped out in little tiny pockets of information a couple of newspaper articles or whatever. But that's frightening to me that they can leave 120,000 people off. This jerk in Georgia, and I'm being kind in calling him that because he's trying to fix his own election.
Yeah.
53,000. In North Dakota, there's a technicality that they can eliminate all of the Native American votes because they don't have addresses. They have P.O. boxes, and they don't consider that. And that's Heidi Heitkamp. She's the one who was one of the few who knew she would lose her seat if she voted against Kavanaugh and did it anyway. And I'm beside myself to see what's happening to our democracy. It's being not hijacked, it's being choked to death.
Now, why do you think that's happening? Do you think it's because the Congress legislation, we want to keep control of the party, or do you think it's foreigners? Do you think it's Russia? Do you think it's China? Do you think it's an influence? Like, what is going on that we're just
I think it's all
fracturing?
of the above.
Okay.
But mainly it's because the Republicans want to win. They aren't going to on merit. They aren't going to on numbers. So they have these horrible attack ads saying the absolute opposite of, like, let me take somebody, what's her name? Katie Hill. There was an attack ad about how she would do away with the middle class tax cut. And it's like, no, that's not what she says on any of her material. And knowing her background and everything, she would be doing the opposite. She would be. But one thing I have to say before I forget, now the House and Senate are going to look at ways to make up for the deficit that they created. They gave away $1.7 trillion to, am I right? $1 trillion to the upper 1%, the billionaires, like him and his friends. And so now they need to make that up. So they're going after Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. And I'm talking right now. So anybody listening, if you don't want that to happen, get on the phone, call your senators, call your representatives, and tell them, this is our money. Quit calling it an entitlement. This is not an entitlement. We've paid our money into the system.
It's already been taken from your paycheck.
I mean, 50 years worth of me has gone into that, and it goes in. It's like an insurance policy. It goes in to help the people who need it then,
right?
And it's supposed to be there when you need it now, and in the future. And it is not going broke. They just lie every time they talk about this. But don't ever let them get away with calling it an entitlement. That says
we have to change the verbiage.
The connotation of that is you're getting something for free. It's not free.
Right.
It's not
your
free.
money.
Every time I look at my paycheck, I know it's not free.
Right.
So it's just evil. And my solution, you created a $1.7 trillion deficit, fine. Take the money back from the 1%.
Right. Yeah.
Don't give it to them. You're worried about that? Fine. That's my suggestion. It works perfectly.
Yeah.
So what do you, have you ever felt in any particular election, primary, midterms, that you could not have voted for your party's representative? Have you ever been in?
No.
So you've always been a Democrat.
Yeah.
And always have voted democratically.
Yeah, I mean, for instance, when I moved to California, or right before, Ronald Reagan.
Where did you grow up? Where did
Phoenix and Memphis, and then back to Phoenix.
Okay.
Anyway, Ronald Reagan was elected governor, and the first two things, he cut mental health and education. We were, at that time, vying for number one in the country with New York. It would go back and forth. Some years they were number one, some years we're 44th now?
For education?
For education. That's unacceptable on so many levels. That's down around like Arkansas and places that are very poor areas of the country. That's just not feasible to me. It's not even feasible.
So we went from like 1 to 2 to number 44.
Yeah, all the way.
Since he was cutting the education.
He cut it badly, and then other Republicans did the same thing, and I don't think it's ever gotten restored. Our money from going and playing the lottery is supposed to be going to
Yes,
some of
I
it does,
remember
but
that.
they've pulled it out for other things.
But for as
But that's not
as
what I
much
voted for
money
when that
as
was
it
on the-
makes, as much money as the lottery makes here in
Right.
California, you would think that we should have the absolute best school systems ever. Because I
Thank you.
remember
Thank you.
when that was implemented. I want to say I was in elementary school, maybe high school, because I don't remember the year. But I remember it, and I was in private school, and I remember like teachers and adults and stuff talking about it and thinking, oh, this might be good. This is going to be really great because now we can get our kids. We don't have to pay for private school anymore because, you know, our public schools are going to be safer. The ones that aren't considered safe will be safer, nicer. And there was all of this hopefulness. I remember that was around the lottery. And then we moved away, and then we moved back, and I'm like, oh, we still have the lottery here. And tons of people play the lottery. So many people. And then I'm still like, well, and we still have bad schools?
Yeah.
Like, that's
and
been
what is our lottery
25,
up
30
to
years?
today? I thought it was like 900
No, it's just under 900 million.
Yeah.
It's 887 or something.
Million.
Million.
Hundreds of millions of dollars.
Like,
and,
what?
And I'm sorry, where's that money going?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
what? I don't get it. I don't understand. I feel like the lottery thing was just a little shiny thing. Like, hey, look at this.
Shiny
And then,
sham for
yeah, it's like a
probably-
scam. Like,
So
what's
then where
happened to
does
all
the
that
money go now?
Yeah.
Some of it does go to schools, but not in the percentages that
Then
we
it-
thought.
Okay.
And the rest of it, I think, is kind of usurped by the assembly to go into other, areas.
So let me ask you, why do you
It's like picking the
think
pocket.
because I really feel that the politicians on both sides are intimidated by the president.
Right now.
Well, he threatens them so often.
Yeah, but if you can threaten me all day, and if it's not true, I don't care.
Well, I think the
Unless
point
he
being,
pulls a
I
gun
have
out
to
of
be
his
honest
pocket,
with
then
you.
I'll be like, oh hell.
I
Well,
don't think that.
I've
I don't
been-
think they have that strong of a constitution.
I've been very unhappy with the way the Democrats have been in Congress for a very long time because I don't think they really took the bull by the horns and fought as they should have. So that part of it, I'm more than willing to accept. But I think they've been fighting very, very hard. And they don't have the majority. They don't have the 51 votes the Republicans have. So they are going to lose every time.
Do you almost feel like they've given up in a way?
No. I think finally they've gotten fired up because it is so egregious. What they're doing is just, Kavanaugh, oh my God. That's a show
if
in
you want to
itself.
talk about that, I
That
can't
was
believe
terrifying.
that he.
that was terrifying for
That
me
was
to watch.
terrifying.
That was terrifying.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
my heart was like, oh my God. What? Like it just changed everything that I believed.
But
Is there
if I
a
were
way?
a woman, a Republican, I could not vote for anybody that voted for that, which is the entire Republican side.
Right.
And for all of Jeff Flake's lying beforehand, he voted in lockstep, goose step, and right with him. So,
But isn't there an opportunity for us to be able to impeach him as well?
yes, there is.
So
'Cause
there is still an
there's
opportunity
already-
for him to not
Yeah.
actually become.
But
a
he's
Supreme
already
Court
done
justice.
damage just sitting there.
Yeah.
I mean, he's
Yeah.
only
That's
been on the bench for what, a week and a half, whatever it is.
I'm in law school, so I'm learning that impeaching a Supreme Court is not an easy task.
Well,
It's
but
not,
they do
no.
have provable
Yeah.
evidence because he lied in front of the Judiciary Committee. When you're lying to
Yeah.
a senator, that's a felony. And on top of that, it's on tape.
Yeah, but
We
like
all saw
everything
it.
else, everything was on tape, and they turned a blind eye.
It's
well,
gonna
no,
take time.
they just wanted to ram it through
Right.
because they knew that they had gerrymandering cases and they had they also were
Listen, before
trying
they
to-
impeach him, they need to impeach Donald Trump. Let's just go there.
Well, we need to overturn that election.
Yeah, like,
because it's
literally.
just a filthy. I've never seen anything like
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Well, and-
I've been alive voting for a long time, and this has never happened. I mean, this makes
When you
Richard
say
Nixon-
that never happened, what has never happened? The Russian.
First of all,
interference?
yes. I mean, when I hate the word collude. It's conspire. He conspired with a foreign government to subvert the political process of the United States of America. That is treason. I don't care who has anything to say on the other side because it's just. I mean, think about it. That's what he did.
Right.
And he became president because they rigged those different places. And I don't mean they changed the votes. They kept people from voting. I don't know that they didn't augment votes. And I mean, way back, there's a wonderful documentary called Hacking Democracy that was
gotta watch
about
that.
the George Bush. I think it was George Bush and was it the second
Al Gore,
election? Or Al Gore was the first. Maybe it was Kerry the second.
John
anyway,
Kerry. John Kerry was the second.
the whole hanging Chad thing and all the rest of it was odd enough. But there was a guy from, I think, Sweden or Norway or something, who said that he could tell you how to rig the election, like hardware, the actual voting paraphernalia. And so there were these two women who, I think it was Ohio, who went like to the wall to try to get the person who was in charge of those machines, and they were called Diebold. Diebold was the name of the company. And another little fact, a couple weeks before the election, the guy who owned Diebold said he was going to do everything in his power to make sure George Bush was elected president. Now, if you if you're saying that you're going to do everything in your power and you own the damn machines, hardware, So anyway, this man came over from wherever it was, Norway or Sweden or someplace, and he wasn't allowed to go in because finally the I don't know if it was the Secretary of State or the voter registrar, whoever he was, registrar of voters, I mean, he finally, just to show these women what's what, he said, okay, I'm going to let you come in. He can't come in, but you guys can come in. And there were like rows and rows and rows of these machines, you know, on like different, what do you call them, stacking, shelving and such. And he said, pick any three that you want. So you know that nothing's rigged. So they put one from here and all that, and then they did the thing where they put in the card that the guy said into each one of these things. And he said, okay, now we'll do 10 votes, and we'll do 5 each, so we'll be able to tell if there's any rig. So they did, and they looked at the results, and they had 7 votes for this person and 3 votes for this person, and he blanched, because they were showing this in the documentary. He absolutely blanched. He was so positive that there was nothing wrong with his machines and all the rest. And here's the best part. I'm going all over the place, so bring me back wherever you want me to be. But in the election, you had...
and they still use those machines?
Yeah. I'm blanking. Hang on. Justin Timberlake took a picture of himself in the voting booth because he voted, and he posted it, and they went nuts and angry, and you can't do that, and all the rest of it. I looked at it, and I went, holy fuck, they're
no, you can
sorry.
say it. You can say it.
They're going to steal the election. The machine behind him said Diebold. And I literally, my blood ran cold, and I told several of my friends at work, and they went, oh, pfft.
Are you talking about this election?
I remember that
last
craziness
election.
with Justin Timberlake taking a picture in his.
Yeah, and I'm telling you, he had to take it down, and everybody was uproar. And,
but they're still
it's
using
against
the same
law
machines.
in Tennessee. Yeah.
Wow.
So
this is just like evidence. We're just giving like a little bits of evidence. So that's a good documentary, Hacking the Democracy.
Hacking Democracy
is what we should kind of go take a look at.
Okay, so I'm going to play the devil's advocate here, because we all kind of agree. I would say we all agree on what the current climate is.
No, I'm moving actually. To a different country.
You're going to go to Canada because now everything's
everybody's
legal.
going to Canada there. So no, I'm going New Zealand. I think.
Yeah, but no, we got to change this around. We have the power to turn this around.
But do we? But go ahead.
Well, I'm
hopeful. I
mean, I think if enough people got up and voted, you just got to. People don't realize the power in voting. It's so real. I mean, I'm learning that now. Yeah, so much that I'm learning. It's very real. I think we got a little complacent because we just couldn't imagine that Donald Trump was going to win. Like, what? That joker is never going to win.
But I think the thing that scares me, and the reason why I'm not so positive anymore, is because I don't think that the people who are supportive of Donald Trump and the Republicans think that there's anything going on. I think they think that this all is just another extra conspiracy theory, and no one is looking at the evidence. And that's the part that scares me, that there's not enough people in this country that are going to do their due diligence and do their homework and look for it and try to find their own information for it. They're just not, because either they don't want to, they don't have the time to, they don't have the resources to, they don't have the knowledge or know-how.
And they watch Fox News.
If
they watch that only, they're not going to get anything else. When Paul Manafort was indicted, big news are breaking in on different channels and such, and the crawl that goes across to tell you what's up and the important stuff. not a mention. Not a mention.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Fox News didn't even address it.
Yeah.
My sister is a right-wing evangelical type. And so we had a conversation one time, and I said, well, you know, they didn't even show Paul Manafort. And she goes, who's that? My head exploded.
What?
Yeah.
Come on, you guys.
My
that's
mother
what
always said
scares
she always
me.
votes against her best interest. And unfortunately, the people who were swayed to vote for Trump, you know, who were Bernie supporters or whatever, I think they really believed he was going to do something for them. He is. He's picking your pockets. He is.
Okay, so
he
let's
is
say-
keeping you from voting.
So what about the information that's out there that the employment rate is down, that we have a little bit more money in our paychecks? The stock has been, you know, kind of going
and
up and down,
down.
up and down, up and down. We make a little money, then you lose a little money, you make a little money. So what do you say to those
I say
reporting?
you didn't pay attention to the middle class tax cut because it expires in 2 years, whereas the 1.7 trillion to the
Corporations.
corporations and billionaires doesn't go away.
Ever.
You know, ever. So unless you change your House and your Senate and you get Kavanaugh off the court, it's going to be that way for a while. But I mean, here's the problem. They've been planning this for a long time. The
When you say
reason-
they, who? The
Republicans,
Republicans?
the Republican
McConnell? Is it
Congress.
McConnell?
Mitch
McConnell
McConnell.
for certain.
Oof, scary.
He would not hold one single hearing when Merrick Garland was proposed or nominated by Obama for his. He had a seat. that
Yeah.
he
Yes.
should fill, and McConnell just stonewalled and wouldn't do
Yeah.
it. You cannot tell me that he thought he would have gotten a better nominee from Hillary Clinton. He knew for a damn fact that the fix was in, and they were going to be.
And this is really their guy,
Stacking
though? Do the Republicans really like this guy?
Like who?
Who?
The
Kavanaugh?
Yeah.
Well, he'll keep.
Like, do you think was that their master plan? This
No, the
whole
master plan.
The
is
master plan was
keeping-
just
is keeping.
The Supreme Court conservative.
Right.
And no,
Not
and-
necessarily
and-
who it was.
Yes, absolutely true. And they wanted to make sure that Donald Trump couldn't get impeached.
Oh, because this gentleman is not
Yeah.
he's not for that.
No,
Yeah.
well, no, he thinks that
Because the
whatever
Supreme
you
Court
are,
has to-
if you're the chief executive, you can get away with murder. You can do anything you want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So let's
and
explain
he's
it to
not gonna
people.
do that.
Let's explain it to people who might not necessarily be following, because I want to like bring it back around. So why is Kavanaugh's appointment so important and so like oh my god, because we were talking about impeachment. So explain that process a little bit.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that for them to get him on was important because, as I said, they're having to rig this election, and they're having gerrymandering and voter suppression. And there's one place, I'm trying to remember which state it is, where they were trying to close a whole bunch of polling places that were in black neighborhoods. You know, I mean, it's targeted racism, and it's unbelievably.
And it's out there.
un-American.
It's
It is
like
un-American.
out there in the open too. That's the
Right.
other
Yeah.
crazy thing. And so when it comes to impeachment, so if we talk about impeachment and we
Okay.
talk about impeaching of Donald Trump, how does the Supreme Court
It
in and
goes-
of itself play into it? And either one of you, I guess,
It goes to the
miss
House first.
law
It-
degree.
Right. It goes to the House, but it's actually the House that will impeach. So if the House flips,
Right.
let's say that's what everybody's hoping now, that if the House does flip to Democratic, that's what everybody says is the first thing. That's when they don't talk about it right now. It's like,
Right.
don't talk about it until we all have the power to do it.
Right.
And then the House does it, and then they have the power to impeach the president.
Okay.
They take it before the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court, unfortunately, it's a conservative court, so they might not necessarily be all about it. And and we learned through another attorney that was here is that there's this weird. The Supreme Court really works for the president, and the president oversees the Supreme Court. So there's
Right.
like this really weird overlapping.
No,
But
no, I disagree. Each one of it wasn't set up that way. Each one
Well-
of the three
Branches.
of the government are independent, and the FBI works for the president, but he doesn't. He's not supposed to
they're
control
right.
it.
They're supposed to be obviously, back in the day when the Constitution was written, and we would hope that people would still
upheld.
exactly.
upheld.
That was that
was
is
the
true.
idea.
There's just
That was
the
the
judicial, the
footprint.
executive, and what's the other one?
The Congress, legislative.
Right. So those are the three separate branches.
Right.
But what we're discovering now is, and this is what we had this conversation in our law class, is that every president appoints a Supreme Court that is pretty much
In favor.
favors
Right.
their policies or their like what they would want the court to really kind of sway towards. But you're not supposed to. You're supposed to, appoint
Right.
people who are neutral.
Right.
But that has not been the
but-
case. The only,
No,
I think,
you're
one
wrong.
or two. No. I'm not done.
Okay.
Now, the Ronald Reagan. What is the other one? Oh my God.
Daddy
After
Bush?
Reagan?
Nixon, because Rehnquist recused himself when they were going after Nixon and
Yeah.
impeaching Nixon. So there were some courts, there are some judges that would be like, I can't because he appointed me. I can't do this.
Kavanaugh
there's
will not recuse himself.
Right. Well,
Right.
no, of course not, because it's intentional. That's why I'm saying that these presidents pick judges that will favor them,
Right.
and so that's not supposed to be the case.
Right.
By Constitution, that is not supposed to be
Right.
the case. But very few presidents have done that, where they have neutralized the court and that they've put people there. Listen, I think the funniest thing was Chief Justice Roberts, when he was appointed by George Bush, and everybody was like, ah! Meanwhile, he was the one who voted for the Obamacare to stay. And that's when Donald Trump called him, an idiot. But I was like, what? So you you assume that when you put people in the Supreme Court, they're going to do things in your favor.
The president, right, when the
but they
president
really
does.
have to do it based on ruling and precedent.
They
and
should.
that's they should. And if they don't do it, and if there's something criminal about what they're doing,
There
they
is.
can be impeached. There can be, someone could go be like, okay, this, and it has happened twice in the Supreme Court. Yes.
Justices can be impeached.
Yes.
Yes.
So,
But
just
not-
to bring it back down, but the whole point and why everyone is so like, oh my God, everybody has to vote and we have to take back the House is because they have to pass that through, and then it is up to the Supreme Court to uphold that impeachment ruling. And so what we're trying to say and get across is that if you have all these people, and Kavanaugh obviously is like this far up,
He is in the-
somebody's behind,
Yeah.
then you obviously are not going to get that that favor, and
Right.
he could
And-
persuade the people, or if everyone else is conservative, you would hope that the other justices are watching all of this and saying, what the hell kind of
and
madness is
also
our country
the
doing?
FBI has to come, whatever Mueller is doing has to be really, really the smoking gun. Like that has to be what trumps. You know what I'm saying? Like that has to go, and then Congress and the Senate will be like, oh my God, he's a criminal.
Right.
We got to get this guy out. And then it's done.
Right. But that's why we have to vote. Go
Let
ahead.
me just correct one thing. Kennedy did not only appoint people that were like liberal or anything, and Obama's a nominee, Merrick Garland, was a centrist.
Right,
So
but
he
he's
would have
not on the
balanced
court.
it.
Right, but he's not on the court. I'm just saying.
But he,
yeah,
but he tried to
right.
do it,
Yeah.
and,
No,
and
exactly.
McConnell
So did
stopped it.
Obama not get a pick?
Oh no, he had two.
He had two, that's right.
Kagan
Yeah, he
and
did.
Sotomayor.
Yes, that's right. That's right. That's right.
But
Yeah.
he should have had.
Yeah.
3.
Do we have any questions or comments on
Oh,
Facebook?
I'm sorry.
'Cause
I'm
we are
not even. I'm like,
almost
oh, hold on.
like we're
No.
we
Love
are,
the topic.
It goes by
It's
so
only
fast.
been 10 minutes.
I know.
We
So-
got like 5 minutes left.
Okay, so hold on. What are? Okay, so what? Okay, I think I asked you this earlier. What are the importance? Okay, why? Okay, I don't think you answered. Why are the politicians intimidated by Donald Trump?
Well, because he wields so much power. If you're a Republican, you can't go against him because his core voters will come out and kill you at the polls. That's why Flake decided not even to run.
Yeah, right. But he's not.
So they won't be getting reelected. Is that what?
No,
they're afraid of?
he's stepping down. So that I
No,
don't.
he's stepping down
Right.
because he knew he could not win without Trump's support.
But even still, knowing that he was going to step down, I don't understand why he still voted for Kavanaugh. That's my point.
'Cause
like
he-
if he's not coming back, what's the point? You already said you wanted an FBI
I
investigation.
totally agree with you.
So
there
just
was no reason
call
for
it,
him not
call
to.
it what it is, and you already had it in your heart that this was not right.
Yeah.
Because you
But
rang
you
the
had
bell.
people like George Bush that was, out there trying to, rally the troops
Yeah.
to stay behind getting a very overly conservative court.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 5-4 at this point.
Yeah. Well, I think I don't understand. I really don't. I'm neither a registered Democrat or Republican, but I just don't understand why the Democratic Party has cowered. Like they just like flip out. Like they're not punching back hard.
They have started. I mean, you saw at the Kavanaugh.
But there's so much damage, Barbara.
I
Like,
know.
I feel there's
but
so much damage.
Yeah, it's almost like a
as
little too
I
much.
see it, and it's
Exactly.
only as I see it.
Yeah.
I think that Democrats just weren't paying attention to the fact of all the backroom stuff that was going on. I mean, because they were stacking not only. They were stacking school boards. You had the Koch brothers putting in like millions of dollars to a school board race.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Because they want it really conservative. Why is Betsy DeVos, in there? Who, I mean, my God, I don't think she graduated from 3rd grade. and
She did.
Well, but she didn't get
She's
the
not
diploma.
qualified
I
for the
don't know.
job that she has, but half the
She's-
people that are in that cabinet are not qualified for the job.
They're destroying the EPA.
Yeah.
Everybody who was put into a position as secretary of anything was there to dismantle it because they want a smaller government. Well, a smaller government isn't necessarily a better government
Right.
because the protections on air quality and all the rest of it are going to be gone.
Yeah.
Right.
They've taken away, the Republicans in Congress took away the protections that you had against the 2007 meltdown with the all the predatory lenders and also the banking junk bonds and such. They took away those because they could. The Democrats didn't have the votes to stop it. So as much as I'm angry at the Democrats for not fighting harder, they don't have the numbers.
Well, then we can't complain.
No, well,
because
we
we're not
can complain 'cause
voting.
I
Yes.
voted.
Right. Well,
So
you
I
can complain.
on-
Yes. I'm just saying, and that's what the point is. You can't complain if you haven't gotten up to vote.
Right.
You got to get up and
And
vote.
you have to
can't
understand
assume
why you need to
Yeah.
go
You can't
vote.
assume that they're popular. Hillary
Right.
was going to win because she was Hillary. That was not the case.
Yeah.
That was not
Well,
the case.
by 3 million, it was the case, but there was all the meddling that went
Right,
into
exactly.
it. So what they did was they went after the Electoral College,
Right.
Right.
and that's how they won.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how other.
I think we need to get rid of actually
we
the electoral
should
Yeah, we
have
should.
because
college.
that
I
was-
really
that
do
was set up
believe
a
like
long
And
time
term.
ago.
And in fact,
by
and
our
the fact that there's
forefathers.
all this other craziness going on doesn't mean that we can't even start having real conversations about how to change the government in this
Correct.
country because
Correct.
we have all this nonsense and circus going on that's just like making everyone's mind explode. But before we're out of time, I wanted to say too, like as a person that has been in politics and like a regular person, because you have a regular job, it's not like you worked, for politicians or anything like that. You've never run for office. What do you want to say to people and encourage people either to what do they need to do in terms of like getting themselves educated or finding out what they need to find out? The most important thing to get the average person up, invested, and not just the news, because a lot of people are like, oh, I don't want to watch the news. I don't really understand it. I don't know what's going on. I don't know the ins and outs. I don't know who these people are.
I actually have a great suggestion.
Yeah, so
I'm
let's
going to cut you off. Just
go.
Just in case. My nephew's in-laws are both staunch Republicans and very Christian and all the rest. But what has happened to the mother is that she watches CNN for an hour, Fox for an hour, and MSNBC for an hour every day.
Yeah.
Because she really does want to know what's going on. I recommend.
Yeah,
Don't
I do
watch
that.
just one.
I do that. That's exactly what I do.
get your information one. So
Yeah.
one,
Right.
get your
And then
information
you'll
from
be able
different
From
places.
different sources.
You
yeah.
can make a real determination of what's really going on in the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to say, be invested. Like
Yeah.
even if you're not like all into politics, you need to be invested because this is our future. This is really our future, and it's not necessarily about getting Donald Trump out of office because people don't like him. Blah blah blah.
It's what
you need to
destruction
understand.
Okay,
they're doing.
there are some questions. It wasn't loading. Okay, really quickly, here's a question for you, Jim. Thank you for asking. Here's a question for you. Why just the southern border? How about someone look at all the illegals coming from Canada? They don't look for them because they can't tell the difference. Listening here, I am in total agreement. Hate
True.
Trump, the administration, and Kavanaugh. Forget about it. Yeah, I think, there was a funny story on CNN. there was another tunnel that was found. He's building this wall, and they were saying, it was actually Trevor Noah who said he's going to have to build a wall upside down because they're coming in through the ground.
Yeah,
I mean, the idea that this wall is going to keep, all these,
this wall is, y'all need to stop it with this wall.
Yeah.
You're gonna what did you say? Like the cartels, they're not even going over walls or
they're
even
not,
under tunnels.
They're
buying
private
tickets.
planes.
Yes.
And they're like, hey, we're here. They're coming, they're coming on airplanes, and we're acting like, they're crawling over this wall like little cockroaches. That's not what they're doing.
Yeah.
The ignorance behind that is just incredible.
Yes, wake up. Wake up, people. Y'all need to wake up.
One quick thing I wanted to mention is I saw last night they had on CNN 6 people who voted for Trump that weren't voting for Republicans this time.
Yeah, I think
they asked why, and they said they had no idea that he was going to do this. They were destroying their party, the Republican Party. I cannot tell you how many Republicans have said that. John Dean said that, and I went to a town hall that my congressional representative threw, which was phenomenal. It was Malcolm Nance and John Dean. And John Dean said, I find myself agreeing with Democrats more times than not. And it pained him to say that he just couldn't vote Republican. And that he was a lifelong Republican, very very
and
much
I think
so.
the other thing to say that too,
And I feel badly
before
for
we
them.
wrap up,
They
is
have
that
had
I think
their-
people need to let go of their Republican and Democratic.
I agree.
And I think we all need to stop it and come together for the good of this country, because the shit that's going on right now,
It's scary.
behind closed doors. I mean, listen, we
It's
all
our
know that
democracy.
politics is dirty to a certain extent, but this shit that's happening right now, it's like off the chain kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And you really need to start looking at it. And even the people in power are like, whoa, this is like some craziness right
Well,
here.
I mean,
so we really need to let go of these labels and say we all need to come together for the good of this country. And how do we get the shit back on track?
Yeah,
And
exactly.
everybody just needs to stop it and have that mindset. And so we are encouraging you to go out there and vote. I think it's too late to be registered, right? We're done with registration.
We're done with registration. We're
So
3
if
weeks
you
out.
are registered, you need to vote in this election. These elections are very, very important. You can just get yourself a book to, figure out who you want to vote for. All of the information is out there, and we encourage you to go and find it. Get yourself educated. That's what we try to do here. Inform.
One other
educate,
quick
and
thing,
educate.
everyone was wondering why Lindsey Graham changed so much. He went from being anti-Trump to kissing his butt.
Yes.
And
Oh my God,
and
that poor
that
man.
tirade that he went to into it,
He's
the
too
Kavanaugh thing. It was interesting that he had an $800,000 contribution to his campaign, but he doesn't have a campaign. He's not running, and that happened after the Kavanaugh
Running
thing.
for what? For his seat?
He's not running for a seat. He's not up for re-election.
Huh.
So
He
he
just
got an
got paid.
$800,000, and it was from some Russian oligarch. So that's
That
another
was a
reason that
donation.
people are very loyal
Well,
to
listen, I
Trump.
cannot. Rosie O'Donnell said in one interview that she is putting which I hope she doesn't do because we got to wait, a tattoo of Robert Mueller on her leg. But we got to wait to see what he has before you
He's
do
got
that.
everything.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I think
He
it's
better
going to
have
be
something
interesting.
good, like a
Got it.
rabbit out of a hat.
No, I don't think he has a rabbit. I think he has everything. I think he has
I think
everything.
he's got the
Turn that
smoking
hat
gun.
over
Yeah.
and
Well,
shake it
this
out.
was awesome. You're going to have to come
Yes,
back. You're
it
going to have to
goes
come
by
back
so
after the
fast.
elections.
Anytime.
You know,
Yes,
this is going to
I'm
be
happy
great.
to.
And with our other guests who
And
couldn't
we are
make it
very
today.
patriotic here.
We are.
Everywhere. Yes.
Yes.
Everybody that speaks about politics, no matter what side you're on, no matter what opinion you have, that makes you a patriot. That makes you a good American.
Yes,
Voting.
'cause you care.
Voting is not something that you should even consider not doing.
Yeah.
It not only is it your right, it's your duty.
Yes.
I mean, why do you think we have a democracy which is disappearing as we speak? It's
And let's not make that
because
happen.
you have to get out and make your opinions known.
Yes.
And whoever you vote for, that's fine.
Yeah.
But at least do the work and find out that they're really standing for you
Yeah.
and the things that because I can't tell you how many people are saying, I'm not being represented by my representatives.
Right,
Then you got to find another representative.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
You
that's
gotta
on
vote.
you.
There you
or
go.
run. Or run. Listen, run.
Right here.
Yes.
Run. Yeah.
You.
Yes,
No, not me.
we can run. Okay,
No.
we want to thank Barbara Butler for
Yes.
being here
Thank
with
you very
us. She
much.
will
So
be
much.
coming back, I promise. This
Yes.
is too good.
Yes.
And we want to thank you for watching and listening. We'll catch you on Monday. We have a great show. Don't forget to tune in. We
Yes.
hope you've been informed, educated, and I'm sure slightly entertained. Catch us on Monday and Wednesdays here on LA Talk Radio. Have a great
Bye.
weekend.
Have a great week. Bye.
Thank you.
You're listening to Table for Five with Felicia and Annette, only on LA Talk Radio.